Hi, I'm Liaqat Rasul, and I'm a collage and mixed media sculpture sort of artist. And um, yeah, so I make things out of plant materials. Essentially, I find a lot of comfort in looking at materials and understanding the weight or how they were made, or even if it's like a drawer that I just have stuff everything in, then I'll just pull that out and there might be some receipts or some old envelopes with stamps on, and I sort of spend time looking at those things. I usually have some artwork to show you, but I don't send them between studios. But I'm in my friend's flat, but I made her a birthday card. But anyway, this is the sort of thing that I do. So I've just picked it off her shelf. And it's just sort of like, that's just literally cardboard with bits of like an old price tag. And then there's this that I'm working on, which is like, it's an old Chinese fan. So can you see the shape of the fan? So the paper bit got ruined. So I just tore all the paper bit out, and I glued all these um, bits of white paper. And it's a bit like, if you want to give yourself some good energy, like wave it around. Or you could do like a little face thing. Anyway, so quite playful, as you might have noticed. So what we're going to do first is just close our eyes for 5 minutes and do some meditation, if that's all right with everybody, and just do a deep breath, breathe in and breathe out right at the beginning, and we'll just sit here for like sort of 5 minutes. So just the last minute now that we can open our eyes. Right, I think that's possibly a minute. So the next thing we're going to do is warm our hands up, because this session is about talking with your hands. So if you just give them a rub and sort of like stretch them out even, and just sort of like go like this, give them a bend, and just sort of like, you know, I want you to sort of think about what you're doing possibly, but also let your hands do the talking, and whatever you gravitate towards, then let that be something that you embrace. And so I'm just going to go through sort of some of the materials that I've got. I was just saying to Diane and Michelle how I've just went through my recycling bin. So I've got some tissue here, napkins, and some packaging paper, receipts, an old envelope, an old label that's crushed, more wrapping paper, a little bit of tissue paper, and just more scraps basically. I've got a little bit of a plastic bag here. Yeah, so what I'd like to do first of all is get, like, if anybody's got like an A4 sheet or a piece of paper, it can be tissue, and then we just start scrunching it up in our hands, and then maybe grab another piece of paper. It could be like a different texture. So the wrapping paper, for instance, and just listen to the sounds of the paper as you do that and how different they are. There's some cardboard here, and you know that's harder to sort of mold and kind of. So these will be the aspects or the different sort of parts to our collage that we'll do today. Now what I'm going to do next is grab a little bit of paper, and I don't know if anybody's got like a napkin or a tissue paper. What I'm going to do is get a little bit of sellotape, and I'm just going to, or even masking tape, wherever you've got a hand, I'm going to place that on there. And then, what else? Maybe I'll use some cardboard behind it. Maybe some tissue paper. So this is about arranging textures and putting things down fairly quickly, not being precious. Sorry, I don't know if you can tell, but this is just, I've got three textures. So I've got the crumpled note, I've got my napkin, and I've got this tissue paper. And they're all completely different textures. So if you're able to do that with what you've got in front of you, if you can't, please don't worry. Then I'm gonna add the cardboard as well. And again, you know, I'm just sticking them on top of the thing. I'm not worried about you know, gluing it to the back or the way that it looks. You know, we've assembled a sort of A4 sheet of paper here. So now I'm going to get like a ruler and one of my felt tip pens. And what we're going to try and do is very slowly and quite meditatively is just go across all of the different papers. And what you'll notice is the subtle differences in the way that the felt tip takes on the different textures. So on the napkin, it really bleeds a lot. And then on the crumpled paper, it's much more kind of clean. Also the tapes, and also you can do it freehand as well. I was doing that earlier, which is really a lovely thing to do because you're just sort of, you're trying to do a straight line, but it doesn't matter if it's not entirely a straight line, but you could use the straight lines as a guidance. And going slowly, but even just going on the napkin is really, it's a really lovely thing to observe, the colour bleeding into the paper. And just keep swapping your colours, just like so. So what I'm going to do now, the reason why I was talking about all the tapes being slapdash, is that we're just going to border them and just turn them into a sort of design feature. And then sellotape, sometimes it's hard to see it, but it's just, if you look for the gloss, it's quite easy to sort of. I mean, I find sort of straight lines really lovely, quite therapeutic, but if you want to go into some sort of shapes, or if you want to be figurative, whatever you feel like, I'm suddenly following the crevices in the crushed paper as a guideline, and that's kind of a nice thing to do, just to sort of emulate pattern that's formed from the crunching. Then I'm going to switch to a biro. I'm a huge fan of biros. I really like the way that it sort of marks the paper in a kind of, it literally doesn't just sort of mark it as well as color it. And that, I think, is kind of quite a nice thing to observe as well, and kind of you know, I find it really calming. I'm going to do some circles now. Right, so now I'm going to move on to something. I'm just going to put that on one side. And if we grab our bunch paper from before, we just lay that flat and maybe cut it in half. And then what I'm going to do is just like draw a line across here. And this line is on the edge, not the fold. Is what I'm going to do is start cutting across. I'm doing sort of like 0.5 centimeter cuts. You can see that. And I'm going to do this all the way down. Again, the repetitiveness is really, it's really quite lovely. And having the line there really helps so that you kind of don't go over. And then I'm going to do this technique on like a couple of things, but I'm going to change the proportions. So maybe I'll do one that's narrower, but longer. And then I'll figure out a way of how we can apply this to our earlier collage sort of triad thing. You've got something like this. So what I might do next is I don't know where that's. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I've got a piece that's skinny. So I'm going to fold that in half. I'm going to draw a line here. Again, it's freehand or a ruler. And then similarly, we are going to cut. All the way through. That's another one. I'm going to go back to this paper, which is like a. Well, you can use a bank statement as well, by the way, or a receipt. I use receipts actually to give it. So what I want to do is, okay, so I've got quite a long receipt here. So maybe you could emulate that with some A4. Actually, let me just do a patch version for you. Let's just masking tape this. What I want to do is just fold it and fold it again. And it's sort of like 1 centimeter in width, this thing. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of create a handle that's like that. I might just tape that in place and then mark it. So it's sort of, you know, like a paper bag handle. So I'm just going to place that here because I will come back to that later. I'm going to come back to this now, and I'm going to fold it in half. And again, I'm going to create a line across it. And then again, I'm going to cut. And this will be quite a challenge because you'll have all your different textures. So just go slowly. And it's quite satisfying cutting through like layers of things and sort of and how that sounds as well with the scissors. It's really like now we're getting onto the napkin and the tissue. You can see that we've sort of like loosened up the structure because we've just cut some lines going across. And now, if we actually go back to these bits, like I'm literally going to twist it, I think, and then just apply it. I think I quite like this idea of creating 3D structures within collage and things sort of things not being 2D, basically. I find like that's whenever I create some new work, particularly if I'm working on the mobile series that I do, I'm always trying to think of new ways of creating different paper structures. And the only way of doing that is by doing something like this, by being completely and utterly playful right at the beginning. So that handle has then become something that you could hang it on a piece of string, hang it from your ceiling so that it could be 360 degrees kind of thing. So I've got this one here, and I'm just going to tear the little bits. Maybe I just tear that much and then tear this much. So I've got like that much. And then I've got this much, and then maybe so I'm going to attach this bit horizontal, whereas this is vertical. So I just want to see how that, when you hold it up, how it drapes. And then I'm also going to do it like that, so it's sort of close to each other. Even staple. So it's sort of, I don't know what it is actually, but it's a structure. And it started off as patchwork. And then, yeah, so there's a bit of a receipt there, there's rugby paper. I'm going to like cut through, oh, I haven't used these bits, so I'm going to use these bits. So what I'm going to do with these is actually just draw lines on them. You know, with each section of this, if you try and create a different mark making thing and just see what happens, you know, and then you're instantly sort of creating variety within the piece by trying something new and not being afraid. You know, there's nothing to be scared of. It's nothing. There's nothing is, you know, everything is welcome. Nothing's a mistake. Nothing's wrong. I mean, some of the mistakes I've made have been really beneficial to me. But I think we have to learn that. We have to allow ourselves to make mistakes sometimes, and we have to allow ourselves not to sort of envisage a final piece, because, you know, the creativity and the development and I think that's where the excitement lies. You know, trying to figure out the final artwork is when you start getting sophisticated, I think. So yeah, I just feel like that has some really interesting textures and mark making. And even sort of twisting bits.
Thank you for sharing this with us. I think it's the perfect wind down after a day of presentations.
Oh, cool.
let's see. I don't know if anyone else has got anything they can hold up. Have like a virtual gallery of artworks. It's so nice to see the diversity.
I can't see anything. How do I see any view?
Have you got your gallery view on?
No. Oh, cool. Wow. Yes. Excellent. They're brilliant. Oh my God, I love them. They're so mental, aren't they?
I love it.
Yay.
Brilliant. Alison, have you made some earrings there? Brilliant. Oh wow, if people can share these with us, it would be great to see them all together. So
That's
use the
so wonderful.
yeah, or email them over to I don't know, Diane, what's the best email address for people to send these creations to?
Oh, it'd be amazing. I'll send in something on the chat there. So if you want to send in pictures of events, or obviously tag them with the ATACL 23 hashtag, and we can find it as well. But yeah, it's amazing.
Brilliant. And now we all have a nice little artifact to remember the day by as well.
Yeah. And also if you just keep, I mean, I do this with my godchildren quite a lot. And it's a really nice thing to do. And they kind of, sometimes they find it really hard because it's not, I don't have an example to show them because we're just working through it. So, but yeah, it's great to do a little bit of texture work.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you.